This video is addressing the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which occurred yesterday, September 10th, at his event in Utah. There's something to be said to the people who either celebrate this assassination, make light of it, or anything and all in between. People should be ashamed that they're celebrating the assassination of someone who, despite if you agreed with his political, ideological, socioeconomical views, you can see that he stood for open discourse and debate. That is a right here in America. You are allowed to speak the way that you feel, think, whatever, as long as it doesn't do what? Infringe on someone else's right. There is nothing. I have seen multiple people trying to wrap their head around, well, what did he say in order for him to get shot? Nothing. And I suggest you stop looking. He said his opinions. He was a conservative Christian. And in this country, you're allowed to be. It doesn't mean that we as humans cannot coexist in this country. And what this does is it sets a dangerous precedent for people speaking their opinion and getting shot for it. We are supposed to be eras beyond this. Eras beyond this. Now, on the positive note, more than not, I have seen people express their condolences, pray for his wife and his kids, his community. I also want to take the time to extend my condolences to his wife, his kids, and his community. All of us just being human beings, the senseless loss of life that was his, for doing the thing that he normally does. College touring, he says his points, he allows any and everyone, I want to make that clear, any and everyone could have stepped up to that microphone and said how much they adamantly disagreed with him. And he would have the discourse right there with them. It's not more so what his opinions were. Charlie Kirk and people like him symbolize our freedom of speech in America. They are the embodiment of that right. And when you take it upon yourself to violently treat someone for expressing that right, you are literally making America go backwards. All the fight that we can all say our ancestors did, all the choices they made to make this country what it is today, we are going backwards when we allow that type of violence to happen. So, I haven't seen anyone address this yet, but not only did I see a majority of people give their condolences, express their grief, the tragedy, express the tragedy what this is. I'm glad that people are calling it an assassination because that's what it is. It's not just a murder, it's not that he got shot. He was assassinated, it was a planned attack. But also, the minority of people who are making light of this situation, the people who are celebrating his death, I'm going to say something that I haven't heard anyone say it yet. Yes, that's appalling. Those people should be held to account, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But it is the minority doing that, from what I can see. It's only the minority that's celebrating this death, saying that there's one less person on the or one less person in the world and everyone should be grateful. That is the minority of comments and articles that I'm seeing. I say that to say that humanity, and at least the humanity we see being expressed here, is majorly positive. Meaning that majority of people do agree this is a tragedy. Majority of people do see this as a tragedy against not only Charlie and his family, but against freedom of speech. An amendment that we all fought for and we all said was a human right, an unalienable human right. You're born with it. And no one should take it away from you. And it is our duty as human beings to make sure that no one does. None of us can stop each other's freedom of speech. And I also think that this goes to show that we are evolving. We are going towards a better track because more people are showing empathy than not showing empathy. More people I see are, again, expressing their condolences and not expressing their condolences. And I think we're at this point in humanity where one person is too many. One person expressing violence for freedom of speech is too many people expressing violence. It's the same thing I see with the war in Palestine and Ukraine. It's the same way I see about world hunger. It's the same thing I see about world poverty. The majority of people are leaning towards one person being in that situation being too much. It shows collectively that we care about each other. It shows collectively that we mourn together, we grieve together. And I think that's more of an important stance And if there's anything I'm gonna remember Charlie for, is not only his debates, because I watched many of them. Some of them, most of them, he destroyed his opponents, but other times they had him on the wall, and I enjoyed him thoroughly because I enjoy the art of debate. I enjoy the art of discourse. I enjoy the art of discussion. But if there's one thing that I want him to be, that I hope that he's remembered for, and it seems like this is a track that he is going to be remembered for, is that he stood for the unalienable right of what it is to be an American citizen and to speak your mind, but to do it in a way to where people should model it. When you have an opinion, you have to give people the open floor to express theirs. And there has never been a time where I have seen Charlie where he's given an opinion and stopped people from sharing their opinion. I think that is the reciprocation that people should model after. If you're going to give your opinion, allow other people to have their opinions, even if they don't agree with you. And I hope and pray that he's more remembered for that. And to his shooter, I don't know what community you're in. I don't know what hate-filled community you have around you. But let me make one thing clear to you. Those people are not your friends. That is trauma on trauma. And you guys are now in a cycle of hate now. Because if you thought majority of people hated Charlie Kirk, you were dead wrong. Majority of people respected him. And whatever they fed to you to make you really sit there, take the time, plan out, discuss, map out, orchestrate this attack, you made him more famous than what he ever was. You made him a martyr. I don't know how that's a successful plan, because now he's more famous than what he ever was before. If they told you you would be remembered, if they told you that you was doing the world a favor, I guess you get to see live time exactly what your actions have done. All you did was pull people together. For the most part. There's some people who are there rocking with you, but they're not the majority. They're not the majority. When you get to terms with that, when you finally get to know that, you'll probably be behind bars. I hope so. But I really hope you see this and understand that you still failed. You still failed. His words will live on. His legacy will live on. And now you made it cemented. When all you had to do was walk away. That's it. You didn't like what he had to say? Walk away. You don't agree with him? Take him off your algorithm. The thought of someone sitting there and hating you so much that they stalk you, they purposely put your videos in their feed just to hate you, walk away. There's a quote that says that there's love in letting go. And I firmly believe that the reason why there's love in letting go is because if you don't let go fast enough, your love will turn to hate. Charlie Kirk, you will be missed. Your legacy will live on. I will watch your debates back and fond memories of what it taught me, the different perspectives you shared, and just what it meant to be proud in the country that we live in. To know that you did not take your rights for granted. You extended the courtesy that you wanted other people to extend to you, which was speak your mind. Speak your mind, speak your piece. We can still live in the same country and we have different opinions. There is a serious lack, even if it's a minority of people, which I do believe it's a minority of people. This is not the majority of people that are thinking like this. There's a minority of people who lack emotional intelligence, lack empathy. They're lost. They're looking for something, and they think something like this will give them what they're looking for. It doesn't. It doesn't. All this is senseless violence. That's all this is. It doesn't give anyone anything. It will not give you the promise that it made to you. All it did was make him more loved. I cried yesterday because I knew my whole life that this fight would be hard. Teaching empathy would be hard. Speaking to a logical person about how they treat others and how people feel when you leave them is difficult. It's difficult to instill that. I'm declaring that we should have more emotional training, more emotional intelligence training. We do not have the fortitude of the yesteryears. Maybe because the problems were worse. But we don't know what it's like to disagree and walk away anymore. People are threatening their relationships. People are threatened with their jobs. People are threatened with their livelihood. People are threatened with their life. Just because we disagree? No. You can still be friends with someone and have a disagreement. You can still be in a relationship and have a disagreement. You can still work beside your coworker. You can still answer to a boss, be a boss. You can still teach your kids. Your kids disagree all the time with you. What you gonna do? We have to start wisening up. And again, I am the light at the end of this tunnel is that the majority of the people understand it. Majority of the people are starting to let their emotional sensibilities come in, because there's a lot of people I saw that adamantly disagree with Charlie Kirk, the conservative movement, the Republican movement, the MAGA movement, Trump movement, and they still think it's just as a tragedy and a travesty. And these are people who would never vote for Trump, would never even vote Republican. They're not conservative. They can be blue all day. And even those labels don't really mean anything, because at the end of the day, if you're sitting here disagreeing, who's a Christian? There's people who I saw who wasn't Christian. People who literally said that they're not religious in any sense of the word. They wouldn't be sitting here thinking that Charlie Kirk is going to represent them in any way. But they still think this is a tragedy, because it is. It is a tragedy. Kids don't have their father. A wife lost her husband and probably her best friend. A community lost their leader. And for nothing but opinion. Nothing but opinion. And in the best way that you can discuss opinions. An open floor discussion. And to the family of Charlie Kirk, I send my deepest condolences to you. I pray over his wife, his children, the rest of his family and his community. We have to do better. We have to be better. And light at the end of the tunnel is that humanity is getting better. I'm starting to see more empathy than what I've ever seen for people who don't disagree. But there's still some rotten apples here, and we're going to weed them out. We're going to weed them out, because this should not be happening. This should not be happening. I implore, again, more emotional training, more empathy training, knowing that you can disagree with someone and walk away from someone, knowing that there is love in letting go before you turn to hate, because love can turn to hate quick, and that we continue to move forward in this right direction. I'm praying if Charlie stood for anything, it's going to be this, because it's not okay. This act of violence should never be on someone for just expressing their right to free speech. Every day, I post these quotes from Already Aligned by Design about patience, gratitude, peace, discipline, honor, integrity. But all those traits have one thing in common. You have to choose to be them. You. It starts with you. And someone yesterday didn't choose peace. Someone yesterday chose violence and hatred. None of these things are tested unless you're with your enemy. You ever want to know if you're an empathetic person? Be around your enemy. You ever want to know if you're a good person? Be around your enemy. Because it's easy to be good around your friends. It's easier to be good or empathetic around the people who love you and share the same opinions as you and share the same values. Be around people who don't. And if you treat them better than what they treated you, you are empathetic. If you, and I don't mean them, I mean period. If you're able to take the trauma that someone has given you and disperse it, let it go, and treat the world better than what you were treated, you won. That is passing the test. That is answering the test. To all the leaders, all the people that I talk to, that I coach in leadership development, empathy is a really big part because of things like this. You have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes and know what you would not want being done to you. It's the golden rule between 20 different religions that I've studied for a reason. To love thy neighbor as you love yourself. To treat others the way you want to be treated. You go into nearly any religion or culture on this planet, and that is the golden rule for a reason. Because it's supposed to be that simple. If you don't want anyone damning you for your opinion, you don't damn anyone else for their opinion. You move on. Or you allow the space. Allow them to speak, because I'm pretty sure if you felt just as passionate about something, you would want someone to allow you to speak. The feminine energy, the emotional energy has come back into play. Masculinity is too rampant. It's too rampant. And it's something that femininity allowed. But masculinity has to back off a little bit. Because now people don't have any emotional intelligence to sit here and say, oh, you made me feel some type of way, but it's all right. His words hurt me, but it's okay. They're only words. If someone's words could drive you to violence, you lost. Charlie, again, you will be missed. I hope you know that you are missed greatly and that we will get justice for you. And I hope your family knows that what you stood for will not be forgotten or lost. And we will continue to fight and stand up to those who thinks that violence can silence any of us. It won't. Violence will never silence the truth. It never has. It never will.